Well, good morning and welcome to the Real Monica Adams Show. We are live from my home and it's a very warm setting today. We want to bring you a little hope, some possibility, and shine a light on an incredible human being. I cannot wait for this interview. I actually had a chance to meet this couple back in 2019, fell in love with them immediately. We'll tell that story. I was blessed and honored to meet this wonderful soul, one of which is no longer here, unfortunately, but we want her light to continue to shine and bring you some hope and possibilities. We're going to talk about Sarah Penberthy today. Sarah's soldiers I know will be watching, and we've got her beloved husband is going to join me on today's show. So thank you, by the way, for tuning in. And I look forward for any of you that knew this wonderful soul to drop some comments in. We'll be reading those comments throughout the show. And also for any of you that have ever dealt, and I know we've all been stricken with some form of cancer in some way. Today, we're going to talk about breast cancer, but then we're going to talk about how that cancer comes back sometimes with a vengeance and metastasize. We're going to tell Sarah's story, but we're also going to, what I wanted to do, and when I talked to Tony about doing this, I said, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and you saw a lot all over social media. You probably went to events, raising money, which is fantastic. But then what happens after October? Everyone stops talking about it. No, we need to make sure that it is in your face and that we continue to raise money. We continue to tell you to do your self-exams. We continue to tell you to do your mammograms. We want to take care of you, women. And then it's the men who are next to us, our support system. They also are the ones that have to say, hey, are you doing your exams? They know you just almost as good as you know you, but you have to be your own advocate. You have to be the one that does your exams, and please take care of yourself. So Sarah Penberthy is the hope and the possibility and the light, and she's going to help build you up. You're going to listen to the story. You're probably going to cry. You might laugh. I bet you it's going to take you on a whirlwind of emotions today. And again, any of you, by the way, that are dealing with cancer right now, breast cancer or any form of cancer, our hearts and prayers and thoughts go out to you as you fight your battle. I know whenever we go to these big walks and runs and there's fundraisers, it's always for those that are fighting. And then it's for those that have lost, or it's one in memory of. All those things you're going to listen to or you're going to feel today. And if you've been there, again, our thoughts and prayers go out to you. Stay an advocate for yourself and make sure that you have a doctor that's an advocate as well. It was great to hear Tony say that where Sarah was treated, that they loved their experience. And that's what you want. Through those really rough times, it is to make sure that someone's there for you, taking care of you, and connect with you. So again, over the next hour, we'll be talking about Sarah with Tony. He is here at my home. We're going to tell her story, and I can't wait to hear and talk with some of you that remember Sarah. If you were in the dance community, maybe the Muni knew that family very, very well. And it's amazing to see the strength and the hope, the light that she was when I first met her back in 2019. And like I said, anybody that knew Sarah, you fell in love with her immediately. I posted last night that I was going to have her on, showed one picture of her, but boy, do we have a story to tell today through the pictures and through her husband. So stay tuned. When we return, Tony Penberthy is my guest. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment or online envitahealthandwellness.com. Well, good morning. It is Thursday. That means we are the mobile Monica version. We are home with a friend of mine. Thank you, by the way, for coming in early.
Thank you for having me.
I greatly appreciate it. This is Tony Penberthy. Tony and I met with his beautiful wife back in 2019. And I say, Tony, that I was blessed to meet both of you. She was the Portrait of Hope. Tell us a little bit about that.
So it's a thing with making strides in the American Cancer Society. You're nominated as either a breast cancer survivor or going through breast cancer.
Mhm.
And just recently they had a caregiver this year.
Oh,
The
really?
first Portrait of Hope was a caregiver. You're nominated by a friend or a family member, and if you're accepted into it, they pamper you. You do speaking engagements. You help raise money for the American Cancer Society and Making Strides. It was fun. It's a horrible place to be in, but it was fun, and it's good to give back.
I'm glad that they added that because the caregiving aspect is huge. I mean, you turned into a caregiver, and that a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, it's so difficult." Yes, but it's the love of your life, and it's something that you would take on at any point, right?
Oh yes.
Yes. So good for that. Again, if you're just tuning in, we're going to talk about Sarah Penberthy, and we're going to actually show you her story throughout the years. And for those of you that knew Sarah, please feel free to tell us how the two of you met, how the three of you met, or how the five of you met, because it's this beautiful family. We're going to talk about Tony and Sarah's daughters. We're going to talk about going through the hardest of times, being the support system, which is so paramount, and then loss, and then hope again, continuing to shine Sarah's light. So if you knew her, please let us know how you met her. Let us know what she and this family meant to you. So let's take you back through the years. Tony, look at how young is she here?
18.
18. The two of you met at 17 and 18. You went to Fox, she went to Seckman, but you actually knew each other in junior high?
Yes.
And how do you not fall in love with that face?
Funny story. In junior high, she had a crush on me, and I had no idea.
Really?
She didn't say anything. Yeah, didn't find out till we were in high school, till later in high school.
Look at the two of you in these pictures. I mean, you're such babies. What would you say to the two of them right now? What would you tell those two?
I wouldn't do it any different.
No.
Mm-mm.
How did the two of you start talking and start dating?
At a mutual friend's house.
Okay.
Someone she danced with, and a family member of mine.
And speaking of dancing, she and your daughters, incredible dancers. She started dancing, and she's kind of a slacker. She didn't do it at one. She did it at two.
Right, yeah, she had to wait until she was 2.
I mean, my gosh, she starts to walk and then decides to dance right away. And that love of dance carried over to your daughters as well, right?
Yes.
But you said one
Very
of
much.
them was not starting till what, about 5 or 6?
Correct.
You said something about she had a little anxiety.
She had anxiety as a young child.
Mhm.
Oh, her first recital, she didn't even go out onto the stage. She just screamed the entire time, and that happens with a lot of kids. And it's part of the fun. It's nothing for the family to be embarrassed about.
No.
That kids do that. It's hard to get out there in front of hundreds of people to
Amen.
dance.
Especially if she already has anxiety. But I think the really beautiful thing is you told me that it probably helped her through the dance to help that anxiety a little bit, right? To build confidence.
Definitely does.
Yes.
Being able to perform in front of some people and just take that first step to try. And then you do it, you're like, okay.
And that was McKenna, right?
Yes.
And so it's Alexia, who's now 18, and McKenna, who's now 15. I met them both back in 2019, and we talked about their love for dance. You were, deep into the Muni community also.
Yes, Alex started 2017. We had just started and just went right for it.
So she was a Muni kid, right?
Not at first, but she did become a Muni kid,
yeah.
And then she's most recently been a Muni teen.
Okay, so we're talking again. If you're just tuning in, and we've got a great many of you this morning. My mom just signed on. I remember when my mom met you guys at the Muni, and she's like, "What a beautiful woman!" And I said, "I know." I'm like her soul alone. So you're going to see these pictures, and the first thing that's going to jump out to you is you can see through her soul in her eyes. That was the thing that I saw right away. Don't you agree with that?
Oh yes.
Yes. I mean, she just from obviously going through the years and everyone she touched. I mean, she's got a page that we still are in that's called Sarah's Soldiers. And in that, there's so many people, and I'm sure that we're going to read some of the comments of people that knew her. But did you see that same seeing through her soul when you met her when she was 17?
Absolutely.
What was it that struck you, and when you just fell for her?
Oh man, too many things. We just had so much fun. She's gorgeous.
Yes.
Just easy, like lighthearted. Sorry.
No, please. No, that's the one thing. Never be sorry, because I know today is going to pull back some emotions. Not that the emotions have left you, but today is going to pull some of that out. Oh my gosh, let's stop right there. That's your wedding day.
Yes.
You're just babies there. How old were you?
She was 22. I 23. Yeah, I was 23. She was 22.
And as you said, I mean, how do you not fall in love? She's a beautiful human being aesthetically. But what I felt,
I'm sorry, she was 21. I was 22. We were pretty young. I think that's pretty close.
and then you have, and then how long were you married before you had Alexia?
2 years.
2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then McKenna a few years after that, right?
2.5 years later.
Okay, so spending time together, what was your favorite thing about your early years?
Every time I got to see her. So I'm in construction,
Mhm.
and I leave early every day and come home in the afternoon. And she went straight from high school to teaching dance. So she was gone in the afternoons and didn't come home till 10. So we didn't get to see each other a whole lot
Oh, okay.
for a while. So every time we did, we just did everything together.
Yes. And so, and that's what one thing I want you all to hear is how important it is to fall in love with someone that you just want to be with all the time. And when you're separated and you can't wait till they walk back in the door.
Yes.
And I'm sure that you're the couple that always kissed each other as soon as you walked in the door. Please do that, by the way, folks. Find your way back to that type of connection. Love these pictures. Again, we're looking at some of the early years. Look at you, Studley. I've never known you without a beard.
My girls say the same thing, even though it's only been 8 years. They're like, I don't know what you would look like, Dad.
Here you go, honey. So again, what were your favorite things besides obviously her love for dance? What did the two of you love to do together?
The beach.
The beach, which we're looking at. Okay, so then the kids come into play. The beach. What is it about the beach? Is it a calming source?
The weather, just the waves, calming.
Where did you go?
Oh, we've been to St. Croix twice. I went to Florida a lot. Just most recently, right before she passed, we were in Alabama.
We've got that picture coming up. I'm sure is that where that final picture? Oh my gosh, it is such a beautiful picture. Let me look some of the comments as you are signing on this morning. Obviously, good morning to all of you that are saying hello, hello, hello. Krista Roberts says, Tony, is that a good friend of yours? Yes.
Yes, from dance and the mini.
And then again, saying babies, just the two of you being babies, and then looking at the babies. The family means everything to so many. Absolutely.
Sarah Beck and I went to junior high together.
Junior high?
High school, we graduated together. Yeah, she's known Sarah and I forever. Her and her husband both.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
So again, that's the other thing is when you go through and you find out, which we're going to talk about, but I want to talk about some happy times first before you get to the first time that she's diagnosed is 2014, November of 2014, when she has breast cancer. But it's the times before that, right? Because that's where we want to go back to. It's the biggest thing about this show, Tony, and I walked away from the news where I met you, but that's the thing that I always feel blessed is that if I hadn't done that, it wouldn't have brought me all these beautiful people. And so we look at our blessings, we look at our support system. Here's people that you've known since junior high that are still super close to you, still lifting you up, watching you become something that you didn't want to become. Now you have an adjective, widow, single dad. I mean, a lot of things that are really, really tough to move on beyond this. Sarah said the family means everything to so many. Emily Serdike. Mm-hmm. Emily says, I met Sarah and Tony in college. They've been my role models of how to love and support. What does that mean to you?
We got that a lot.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Never be sorry, please. These emotions are going to play out. You got it a lot because the two of you really, truly were the epitome of love to each other and respect. And support, right?
Yeah, almost like an anomaly. We didn't fight. There's no reason for that.
Ever. Mm-hmm. You never fought.
Nope.
In 19 years of marriage.
Mm-mm. 24 years of being together, never fought.
How is that?
Discussions.
No, that's huge. That's huge for you to say it that way. Yeah. Communication.
Yes.
That's huge. If you're just tuning in, we're talking with Tony Penberthy. We're remembering Sarah Penberthy. I don't know too many couples. Well, of course, you'd be a role model that can say, no, we didn't fight. Mm-hmm. So do you think that that's what kept you from fighting is that you just found your way to discussions, communication? You didn't, and you had respect for each other?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think there's any other way to do that. You have to. I didn't want to fight with her. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to fight with me. Mm-hmm. There's no reason for it. Mm. So,
wow, people listen to that. Easy. That's powerful. Ann Wilkinson? No? So good morning. I'm seeing some new names here this morning. I love it as you're listening and watching the show. Do me a favor, by the way, and share and like and follow so that we can bring hope throughout the world. And again, some positivity. Debbie Holder, such a beautiful day.
High school friend. She was in our wedding.
Oh my gosh. Good morning. God bless all of you. These pics are bringing back so many memories, Sarah says. Marie Elizabeth, the Penberthy family is one of the kindest, most beautiful families I've had the honor of having in my life. Love you all. You is
Our
Maria.
daughters dance at the studio together.
Okay.
It's my mother-in-law. That's my
I see.
father-in-law.
I'm like, I see a
Sarah's
long
parents.
Dennis. Dennis Joanne. Okay, got it. Love it. And that's your mother-in-law, right?
Yeah, they have a joint account. Mother and father-in-law,
Who
Dennis
I
and
have,
Joanne.
I've met her mother.
Yes.
And I just fell in love with her mother as well. Tony could write a book on marriage and relationships. Right. After just that comment alone. Okay. So we've been looking at some pictures. So as we said, Sarah was 17. Tony was 18. Sarah went to Seckman. Tony went to Fox. But the two of you knew each other from junior high, also at Seckman. You date. You're married for 19 years. And in those 19 years, you have this incredible love story and never want to hear what happens in November of 2014. And is that what it is? We were trying to figure out the time frame of all this. And so forgive us if it's not the right, but you can tell obviously that she is going through some treatments here.
Yes,
Is that was the second time around? Or
no, this is the first one.
Okay,
Yes.
good.
Spring or March, I think, 2015. After she had started chemo, we had to shave her hair.
Okay. And so one of the things that Tony and I talked about before we went on is how did she find out? What was she going through? You said that she found a lump,
Yes.
right? Now, at the age that she is at that point, which was 34,
Correct.
was she doing exams? Right. So this is one of the biggest things I really want you to listen to today is the importance of this. Teach your young girls, right? I mean, they've been through this. They saw the struggle that your wife went through, and hopefully they see and then talk to their friends, and it kind of spreads the importance of it all. Because if we're not doing that, that's the dangerous side of it, is can we catch this earlier? But you even said to me, you're like, well, you guys do that. And I was like, what did I say to you?
No.
I haven't in a long time. And you and Sarah, when I said Sarah can change lives, I mean that today. We're going to stress to you, you've got to do that. And one of the things that your OBGYN and any doctor will tell you is to do it in the shower. You're there, you're washing up, go ahead, make sure that you do it. We are the ones that know our bodies the most, but then the people in your life, the ones that love you, your partner, your husband, whoever, they also would be able to say, hey, wait, that doesn't look right. Right. So being very aware and being connected. I mean, with how connected that you weren't aware of it. She brought it to your attention.
Yes.
Right. So she says, I feel
did find
something
it in the shower.
Oh, see? So she feels something that she thinks is wrong.
Odd.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
it was
then
pretty high.
Okay.
So you wouldn't think
Right.
breast cancer, but the breast goes all the way up.
And so she found it underneath, like in her armpit area?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that happens. And then does she go to the doctor right away, or do you
Yes,
wait? Oh,
we
good.
went.
Good for her. We're going to talk more about Sarah Penberthy. And again, for any of you that are currently going through this, please let us know where you are with your treatments. We want to honor you, but we're remembering her, and she's allowing light in your life. More on Sarah and her soldiers who are watching when we return. Think about this. When's the last time you called your doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning and he actually answered? Well, at Innovair Health Advocates, their patients are special. Their doctors, nurse practitioners, their care team care deeply about your health, your family, your work, and even your pet. Their clinicians are accessible and they lead your care in and out of the hospital. In fact, Dr. Charles Willie offers his cell phone number to his patients to ensure they can intervene early in your illness. They can provide care above and beyond, offering lab, x-ray, echocardiogram, and other treatments in their office. Innovair Health Advocates with 5 locations on both sides of the river. Check them out, innovairhealth.com. And welcome back. And I want to thank Kathy Kilo Peterson sponsoring today's segment. We couldn't do it without all of you that believe in this mission, align with our mission. Kathy Kilo Peterson, what an incredible woman. And by the way, she is part, along with other authors, in a new book that just came out. I posted that last night. And so congratulations to you and to all. I know Sally Drake's in that, Mary Enderley's in that, and who knows who else that I probably know that's part of that. Kathy, thank you for being a part of the show. If you're looking for a really great person who will be there for you in some of the hardest times, this is the woman. State Farm agent Kathy Kilo Peterson. And again, it's kkilo.com, 636-561-6460. And if you're just tuning in, we're talking about this beautiful soul. And we've been looking through some pictures over the years when they were younger, they get married. And then we talked about being stricken with cancer again at a young age in November of 2014. Going through that, as you mentioned, Tony Penberthy is here at the house with us, and this is Sarah. So November of 2014, she finds this lump. Fortunately, she goes in, which I don't want you to dismiss those things. It may turn out to be nothing, but if it is, you want to get on it right away. So what goes through your mind right away? Do you hope that it's not, and you think no, we'll be good? And then
Yes, of
yes,
course.
yes.
Yeah, you don't want to just assume.
But a lot of people do. They go there in their mind. Oh my gosh, it's going to be horrible. Which
they do. We didn't.
You didn't. Gosh, you two are amazing. Really.
You have that gut feeling.
Yes.
Which she had that, but she didn't let it overcome her. Like just take over.
Right. Besides the lump, was there anything else she was feeling?
No, that was it.
That was it. So no other symptoms. So she goes in. You went to Missouri Baptist right away?
Yes.
Okay. So you go in and they do the test, and then take me there.
Let's see. They do the test, and we find out the day before Thanksgiving that it came back. The test was cancer, or the lump was cancerous.
And they say she's got breast cancer. And then what do they say?
Then we meet with the head nurse at the breast cancer center at Missouri Baptist in early December to just give you a game plan. I mean, they give you a bag with a bunch of paperwork in it. You meet with them for an hour. It's a lot thrown at you. It's pretty overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely.
Very.
Well, and how old are your daughters at that point?
8 and 10.
Yeah, and so this is hard. How do you tell the news to them?
We waited.
Okay.
We waited a little while till she started. She had her first surgery in January 2015. And of course, we had to tell them at that point. But we waited till after Christmas, after the holidays.
Well, yeah.
And then we just told them, like, we age appropriate, but we're very honest with our kids.
Well, yeah. What do you want to say to other parents out there that sugarcoat things or dance around things?
It just makes it harder for them later.
Yeah, that's what
just
I would
age appropriate, of course, but
yes.
just tell them the truth.
And tell them that you're going to go through this together as a family, right?
Definitely.
I saw this incredible love that, so I met in 2019 and met your daughters, and we did the story. By the way, look for that. It was done on Fox 2. I'm sure it's still out there. At that time, she's the portrait of hope, right? We're talking about hope and light and possibilities today. So November of 2014, and she goes through. You said 2015 you went through a lot.
Yes. January, she had 2 surgeries, double mastectomy, and then 2 weeks later, lymph node removal, and then started chemo in February, I believe. And that's when you saw the picture where we had to shave her head in the kitchen. Her hair started falling out. And then radiation directly after that through the summer. She had a full hysterectomy in the fall.
Oh my gosh.
Her cancer is hormone driven, so it feeds off her estrogen.
Okay.
It's BRCA2, I believe.
Okay.
So the hysterectomy helps prevent that. And then in January, when she had her double mastectomy, they did put in expanders in so she could do reconstruction later. We were able to do the reconstruction in December of 2015 so we could keep it in the year of our insurance, which was pretty huge.
I bet.
And so, done by the end of 2015. And she had rang the bell.
That's what
she was clear.
She rang the bell. And for that, there's the hope and there's the journey. There's the warrior that she is. And you're like, finally, we're at this point. Yes. And so in her head, though, does she ever let go of it, or does she keep talking to you about, I'm afraid it might come back?
Not constantly, not consistently, but It never goes away.
For either one of you, or for any 4 of you?
I think the girls were young enough they didn't think about it as much as we did.
But you too.
Yes.
So
But it's not something that consumes you. At least we didn't allow it to.
Thank you. And I'm so glad you said that, because, there are many people that they go through things and then they never really move forward. They never really start living again because it's that fear and anxiety that takes over.
There are.
Right?
There are a lot of people, even when going through treatment, let it overcome them, let it take over, and they're just doom and gloom, and that's awful. I feel horrible for those people that can't try to stay positive. Mm-hmm. The more positive you can stay, the better off you're going to be.
And that's what I saw in the two of you when I did the first story. Well, do you remember the comment? I did this story with them, and you just kept cracking me up because you just kept laughing, and then you were crying, and then we were talking about
the laughing helps me keep from crying.
Real men wear pink is I think the shirt maybe that you were wearing, you had pink Converse. You still have those probably, yes. Right? I think I saw those in pictures
those were given
last
to me by the American Cancer Society the first year I was in.
Because they have the Real Men Wear Pink, yes, which I'm so glad. And it's true, right? But I think the biggest part of the interview that we did was that the men in their lives are there, and they become a part of this whole journey. You can't turn away. But I think we talked about that this day as well, is that there are some women, and what a horrible thing to go through. They find out they have cancer, they're stricken with it, and then the men disappear. The men walk away.
I couldn't imagine doing that.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm sure you heard those stories.
Plenty of them.
Yeah.
Plenty of them.
And that isn't, that's a horrible thing to think about. I love this picture, by the way. I stopped on it on purpose. That is Tony holding up the world. It's holding up your world, right? Where was this?
The covered bridge in Hillsborough.
In Hillsborough. That's what I thought it looked like.
That was 2018, 2019.
You
possibly.
Holding up the girls.
So we started that in Florida when the girls were babies.
Oh, really?
We started doing that every year on the beach. We would go to Florida in October with Sarah's family.
And you're like, okay, hold on.
There might be a couple of pictures in there of us doing that when they were babies.
You obviously work out. So did you have to keep working out more and more and more as they grew and grew and grew?
Yes. That was for both of us. I like working out anyway, and gave me the benefit to be able to hold them.
You're like, oh my gosh, hold on a second. How are we going to do this? Were there falls before you got the perfect picture?
No.
Oh.
No, we work pretty good as a family. So.
You guys are amazing.
We've been doing it for 16 years.
You are absolutely amazing. Let's see. Who else? So yes, we said earlier, Tony could write a book on marriage. Tony, did breast cancer run in her family? Good question.
I think she had 2 aunts that had breast cancer. But other than that, no. There were some other cancers. Her grandpa had some cancers. So her cancer is BRCA2, which you can get tested for. Her mom and her sister also tested positive.
Oh, really?
For the same gene.
Okay.
And then my girls both need to be tested. Alex actually needs to be tested now at 18. They both need to be tested.
Thank you for bringing that up, because again, these are the things that we don't know about, that we need to be right there front and center, to just simply ask your doctor, can you please run this, because it runs in my family. That's a great question, by the way, Rose, because if you do have a genetic predisposition, you want to say, hey, this runs in my family, so that the doctors are aware. We can keep ahead of it. So we were talking earlier about how much you love going to the beach. Is this Florida?
Yes.
So do you and the girls still go?
We went to Florida over Christmas, right after Christmas break. My dad just passed year.
Good. So, yeah. Because again, it's about keeping her memory alive. I only met Sarah a handful of times, but gosh, she was such a bright light. Chelsea Price? Don't know her? Okay.
No. So there are a lot of people who know Sarah and I that I just won't know.
Well, that's because
we ran into that a lot.
I went to her funeral, and just it didn't surprise me. My husband, though, of course, without knowing her, was like, wow, there's a lot of people. I said, she touched a lot of lives. She was a true warrior. And these soldiers continue to march on. She's back in the back here of the kitchen. We've got one from Crystal Spiller.
Yes.
Do you know Crystal? Okay, so Crystal said, Sarah was one of the most precious souls I've ever had the pleasure of calling my best friend. Her positivity and joy she brought in every conversation was contagious. Her laugh was contagious. I agree with that. She brightened every single room she walked into. She was the best mom and incredible wife. She was and is a role model for me. Tony and Sarah had the most amazing relationship. Her presence stays strong in all of us. We love you, Tony, Alexia, and McKenna. Yes, let's keep her memory alive, as I was mentioning. Andrea Erger.
That's my aunt.
So blessed that Tony brought Sarah into our family. Amazing love story. Could not be prouder of the man, the husband, and the father that Tony is. I'm going to start crying. You guys really are. Okay, so here, I wanted to pause on this one as well. So is this at Seckman, or where is this?
That's at Festus.
Festus.
Yeah.
And
my girls go to Festus High School.
Okay, they go to Festus. Okay, so.
And that's Alex and Sarah. During the basketball season, they honor a few breast cancer survivors.
And when is this? What year is this? Do you know?
2 years ago.
2 years ago?
I think.
So as we're going through this,
yes.
and there it is. So here's where we talk about surviving. right? She's holding that. So in this picture, and we mentioned November 2014, she's 34. She found the lump, no other symptoms. I want you to hear this, because if you find anything at all, anything seems suspicious, why would you not go in? And please, men and children that are in the lives, and really, it's not just breast cancer, any aspect, anything that seems wrong, please don't dismiss it. Because if we can get to it early, you never know. I mean, that's what Sarah's doing today, is hopefully being able to save lives, or at least have you address it early on. You talk about the bell ringing in 2016, reconstruction, etc. What's going through her mind and your mind in this picture?
That was the Portrait of Hope photo shoot, where she was being pampered like all of those women should be.
Mm-hmm.
She was clear, had been clear for almost 4 years, about 3.5, 4 years. Routinely doing tests every 3 months, then every 6 months, and I mean, she was happy. She was good.
And
the thought of it was deeper
yeah,
in the back of your head. You didn't think about it as much at that time because it had been 4 years of clean and clear.
I was just going to say, because sometimes they don't ever say you're cured.
No.
But they sometimes will say, the physicians will say 5 years removed from cancer.
Yes.
That they think you're good. So you said 4 years.
It was about,
Yeah.
4.
See, we talked earlier, if you're just tuning in, by the way, we're talking about Sarah Penberthy, but we're talking about you, aren't we? We're talking about any of you that have gone through any forms of this, or maybe you currently are and you're currently fighting the fight. We talked about her deep love for dance, and the girls, they still dancing today?
Oh, yes.
That's
Yes.
never going to stop.
No.
Beautiful dancers. And actually, that was one of the ways she and I reconnected, because I met this family first back in 2019. And then, you would see things, but as Facebook does, you wish you saw more of the people you want to. You've got all these people that are on your page. You're like, who are these people? I missed things from her and from a page that was started called Sarah's Soldiers. She actually reached out to me, and that's where I feel ridiculously blessed. The fact that she was even thinking of me. She reconnected with me in a direct message, and she asked me if I would come out and be an MC for a dance. And I love that. My mom, and that's where my mom met her. My mom's like, what a beautiful woman. I said, yes. And when then your daughters were dancing there, I felt very honored for her to ask me to come out and do that. And then she kept in touch with me. And then I missed when the cancer came back. That's the biggest thing. I was like, oh no, I thought everything was great. And actually, when she reached out, it was already deep into it coming back. So it comes back in 2020.
Yes.
I mean, 2020 was a horrible time for the entire world. And then you've got this stacked on top of it. So take me to 2020. What's going through your mind in 2020?
Oh, in early 2020, February, March, she started having stomach pain and went to her general practitioner, who was going to set her up with a gastronomical expert, I guess you would say. And before we can make it that far, she wasn't eating as much. She just couldn't eat or hold anything down for a few weeks. And we didn't notice that she was losing weight pretty rapidly, and she was becoming jaundice. But when you look at her every day, you don't see the color change.
Right. Did somebody bring it to your attention? Or
no, we were aware that
Okay.
something wasn't right.
Okay.
And Sarah, being Sarah, she wasn't a worrier, but she's like, I'm not going to see this expert. I'm going back to my doctors at Missouri Baptist. Like, we hit everything hard. Like, we didn't back off of anything. We hit everything as aggressive as possible. So within a few weeks, she's like, I'm just going back to see my doctors at Missouri Baptist, and we'll see what's going on.
And they do test?
They did the test and found that she had blockage in her small intestines. They had to remove a 2-inch section of her small intestine in the spring of 2020. They found the cancer had moved there and into her bones at that time.
So you go through this fight in 2014. You go through an incredible 2015 with everything that the family goes through. She rings the bell, survivor, 4 years, and then it comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah, devastating.
Yes. I mean, that's where, if you look in the page, the soldiers continuing to talk, she was very raw. This is what we're going through. This is what I'm feeling. And I think that's a little cathartic for people to say, and I think you would probably agree with this, don't hold it in.
Mm-mm.
And not just to your immediate family, but you've got to talk about it. I mean, what a horrible, dark place to be if you're all alone with this. And she wasn't.
And we saw that, though. We saw women that were reserved, embarrassed, didn't want to say anything. And you could see that their demeanor was different than Sarah's, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do, though. It's hard to just put it out there.
Well, and the incredible woman that she is, what does she do? She, instead of internalizing and taking all the things that she's going through, she's taking care of everybody else. I watched that in her. That was her nature.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Same with my daughters. They're the same way.
They're just like their mama, huh? Mm-hmm. Interesting. Okay, so we're going to look at more comments. This is the picture that I was talking about. Is this when you were on the beach near the end?
Yes, the end of February 2022.
And that, I think that's still is that your background photo?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. And so many people have commented about this picture. Did she tell you what she was thinking there?
You want to know what she was doing? So our friend Crystal, who you just mentioned earlier, Crystal and her husband Wes were with us. The four of us were down there. Wes and I were acting fools in the water. It was a little chilly, and we were out there acting like fools, and she was watching us. It looks like a very set up, perfect picture, but no.
She's saying, "You fools."
She was watching us. Yeah, they were having fun watching us.
That's what I want. I want the highs and lows. I want the laughter. That's good to know.
It couldn't have worked out perfect when Crystal snapped that picture. I mean, it's amazing. I love the stories.
You're right. There are tons of people who look at that and say, "Wow, I wonder what she's thinking." She's thinking, "You fool."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That water's cold. There's no way I would get in there.
Exactly. Why are you doing that? Tiffany Schultz. Did I read this one yet? No. Sarah changed the life of our family for the better. She was always smiling no matter what she was going through. I loved how much our friendship blossomed through the years. I knew her. We still talk about her daily and keep her memory alive. Tony, we love you and the girls and are always here for whatever you want or need. Krista said Sarah was one of the most selfless humans I've ever met. She'd help anyone at any time, even when she was going through her cancer journey. And in 2015, when Sarah was going through her treatments and surgery, she took the time to help me after recovering from a C-section. It was a surrogate for my sister-in-law. Sarah would take my daughter Ella to dance rehearsal with her girls, bring me food, spend time with me. I should have been the one driving her to her treatments, but she was the one serving others during her darkest time, as I just said. That's the one thing that I knew. And some of the discussions that she and I had privately, that's what I felt in her. It's like, you're not even talking about who you are and what you're going through. It's all, how's Tony doing? The kids, everybody around. I've got friends that are going through things. And I was like, yeah, you really are a warrior in every sense of the word.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, so the people who didn't know, what do you want to say that? For the people who never were blessed to know Sarah, tell them how much they missed out.
We don't have enough time for that.
Good. That's very smart. That's a good man. Right? That's true. I mean, I sat at your house after that interview for probably another hour and a half. I think I was like, do you have to go to work?
Yeah, yes.
Oh, I did tell you this. When I was in the circle, you remember that? I was getting ready to leave the house and I called my husband. I did not wait 30 seconds, Tony. I think I remember telling Sarah this. I said, I just met the most incredible couple that I've ever known in my career. And my husband's like, oh, you say that a lot. I'm like, nope, this is the one. This one takes the cake. And I immediately said, I just want to hang with them. I want to go ride Harleys with them. We didn't get a chance to do that. And that's what I feel so frustrated about is people in life say they're going to do something and then we don't do it. And we disconnected and then we were brought back together. But we're looking at pictures, dance, love, everything that she's there for everybody. Just walk me through some of these pictures.
That is recital just a few years ago. That's Easter in front of the house. Very family oriented. I have a pretty big family, so we were always doing stuff with, especially holidays, always doing things with her family. Her parents actually moved closer to us recently, so we're together a lot. So that is the two of them. Let's see, in 2000, that's 2020 actually. Sarah's driving I have a 68 Chrysler New Yorker.
Oh, very cool.
That I bought a few years ago, and she drove it home one night. She was the first time she had driven it. And then I had Alex drive it just earlier. It was last fall, I think she was driving it, and I snapped that picture, and my youngest daughter, McKenna, was like, Dad, these pictures look really similar.
Yeah, look at the mirrored image.
She made a side-by-side image for us.
Just like her mama. We're looking at pictures again, telling the story through the pictures of this woman that I hope you had a chance to meet. And if you didn't, you're learning a little bit about her and hopefully you see yourself in her if you're going through this. And by the way, please let us know if you or someone that you love is going through right now, feel free, because I think that's the thing that Tony would tell you is don't hold it in. Tell us what emotions, and I hope that you're not one of the people that we mentioned, which is that you're going through it alone, or that, God forbid, the person that you were involved with decided to walk away. Is this Florida also?
Alabama.
Oh, this
Yeah,
is
that was
Alabama.
February. That was
So
us.
this is the last one.
Yes.
Last time on the beach.
Yes.
Go back to that moment.
She didn't. So the chemo she was on at that time didn't really make her sick. She didn't have nausea or bouts of like extreme fatigue. She was pretty much tired all the time, but she was in constant pain. Fingertips were burning, toes.
Yeah.
You know, just couldn't hardly use her fingers. A lot of pain with that. She actually, I think by that time, so she's bald, and she actually had a port in her head late 2021 and late 2021, where they had to drain fluid from inside of her skull because it was building up too much pressure. And then she actually had that port removed. So she wore a hat. She wore hats a lot. She had a huge scar, but she didn't really care about that. But she wore her hats to protect her head, and she was just happy. I mean, in a lot of pain, but she didn't let that stop her.
No,
Never did.
I ran into her. I don't remember what the show is. I ran into her at the Muni, and your mother-in-law. And your mother-in-law is actually the one that took me to the side, and she said, "Do you know how bad it is?" And I was like, "No." And because again, without seeing all these messages, you always have that hope, don't you? You know, when it gets to this point, Tony, do you still have hope, or are you losing it more and more and more? Because you see her. I mean, you see her in pain. You see her so thin.
I mean, you don't ever want to lose hope. You never stop doing that. I knew where it was heading, most likely. I just straight asked the doctors because I don't like them to say, well, we can't tell you this, we can't tell you this. I just asked them, and the girls didn't know anything. I think Sarah knew. She just never, we didn't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talked about a lot of things if she wasn't here, but we didn't talk about the end, if you want to say it that way.
Well, you don't want to, because at any point you're hoping that something can turn itself around. I mean, I know there's a lot of advancements in medicine. It's also the reason why we need to give. You just recently were part of the activities that went on in October for breast cancer awareness. Where were you guys? I saw those are the pictures that I
Union
saw.
Station.
At Union Station. And still asking for people to donate for advancements in medicine, so that maybe 10 years from now, in the place where Sarah was, maybe that can be turned around.
There have just been advancements from what Sarah took in 2015 to today. There's already been new medications and advancements on how they treat things. So it's pretty amazing. Like, you never want to just give up hope. There's always the chance that. So we had so many ups and downs that I anticipated what was happening. Unfortunately, we just didn't discuss it. But then we would have great days and good reading or good test results, and you were like, okay, this is gonna be all right. So when she ended up in the hospital the weekend she passed, like, we didn't see that coming. We didn't know.
This picture at your house?
No, that is in Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
Okay.
At a place that we rent down there.
So when your daughters are seeing her go through this and seeing their mother transform, and the look, how thin she got, the pain that she's in, what are they going through? Can you speak for them?
I don't know if I can speak for them. I mean, we still had our daily mother-daughter teenage fights, arguing over the dumbest things, and they're like, "Dad, why are we arguing over this?" I'm like, "I don't know. This is silly."
Yep.
And I think some of that was fueled by fear,
frustration, anger, all those levels. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be without their mom. They're seeing it the possibility transform. You still, any of us, I lost my father. You still, when I was 24, even from the medical aspect, and what you're being told, you still in the back of your mind and in your heart and in your soul want it to turn around. Mm-hmm. You want to hear that it's going to be okay. So we saw the picture on the beach. We talked about Alabama, going through these pictures. And thank you, by the way, for providing these and helping us tell the story of Sarah. Never, ever, ever did that woman not have a smile on her face. I mean, that's incredible, even in all the pain that you're talking about that she went through. Mm-hmm. Look at her. She's beautiful.
Yes, of course.
Talk to her, because I know she's watching the show right now from heaven.
I do have a good story, actually. So she ended up in the hospital before she passed on a Saturday morning. They were at a dance convention. The Wednesday before that, I went to a hockey game with a friend, and I came home. It was probably 10:45, and I come home. The girls are in bed. I always go in and tell the girls goodnight. And I come into our bedroom, and she's sitting cross-legged in our bed, just chomping on vanilla wafers with a huge hey. Like that's how she always was. Like she was at home by herself. The girls were in bed, and she's just playing on her phone, eating vanilla wafers. And I walked in, and she had the biggest smile on her face. She's like, "Hey, how was the game?" Like, that's how it always was. That's how we always were.
I love this woman. Let's see. Let's look at some more of your comments here. Des Meadows? Is that D? D Meadows.
D, yeah, D.
Love
That's her
you,
sister.
Tony. So many memories, so many laughs. Even though I only got to see a few times a year, each experience was like time apart didn't exist. It was the most loving, fun, and beautiful experience. I'm so grateful to be a part of their journey. We miss Sarah greatly. I love you, Tony, and the girls. Becky said, Sarah's smile will forever be etched in my mind. Sarah's love for her family and friends is admirable. I was blessed to be part of her life. Sarah's spirit shows through Alex, Mac, and Tony every time I see them. Right. So all of you that are commenting, you were blessed to know this incredible woman. Sarah will always have a special place in my heart. A pink sister I will always love. Nicole?
Nicole was a Portrait of Hope when Sarah, at the same time Sarah was.
Fantastic.
Same year.
Anybody else, again, if you have anything that you want to say about Sarah, we got a great many people on this morning. And for those that didn't get a chance to watch live and you're going to watch this later, feel free to make some comments because I'll make sure that Tony sees them and I will as well. Sarah's a ray of sunshine. Feel free to comment to us as well.
It's the icing on the cake.
The final brush stroke.
The finishing touches make all the difference in your home, too.
Have fun and get started at carolhouse.com/room planner.
With thousands of accessories in our 3.5-acre showrooms.
Get your picture perfect room and the lowest prices in the country at Carol House.
Because you like nice things.
You know, of course, it's great to get outside and enjoy the warm weather, but when it's time to relax indoors, be sure your home stays cool with equipment and service from my friends at Aldon. 24-hour emergency service available. At Aldon, it's their commitment to continue providing above and beyond HVAC service for all of their customers. They truly care about the air you breathe. Call them today at 314-567-5585 or on the web, aldon.com. That's al-don.com, 314-567-5585. Well, welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you've got to go back and watch the beginning of this show and get to know this beautiful woman that left us far too soon. Sarah Penberthy is who we're remembering today, and this is her beloved husband, Tony. So we've mentioned the whole story. We end up losing her April 11th of 2022. So now, where are you as a family? How do you take the steps to try to move on? A single father trying to be there for the children. They're in their teenage years. Those are hard years without their mama.
Oh man, teenage daughters.
They're watching this morning. Oh, they were until they had to go to school.
Yeah, they are pushing it. They're tough.
In what ways?
I mean, teenagers in general, they're with their friends all the time. They push their limits a little bit, what they can get away with, what they can't. But we have a very open communication, and pretty truthful. I mean, teenagers don't always tell the truth, but they do pretty good. They tell me pretty much everything.
Good.
They come to me with everything. We didn't have a choice. So.
But, well, yes. And so the three of you together are surviving. You know, they don't want to be without their mom. You don't want to be without your wife. And I mean, that unfortunately is life. And so you had to pick up after that. I know the community around you has been strong.
It has been. Sarah's soldiers, and the dance studio, the Muni, our family, our friends from 30 years ago,
Mhm.
still supportive, still there for us.
So McKenna is 18.
15.
No, sorry. Alexia is 18.
Alexia is
McKenna's
18.
15. So what is Alexia doing right now?
She actually just got accepted into the University of Iowa. Oh, I'm just crying because I'm trying to figure out how to pay for it.
Shut up. I love your humor.
To continue in the show, she's been in the nursing program since her junior year. She goes to the Jefferson College. It's part of the ATS program.
Okay.
So she earned her CNA last year.
Congratulations.
And then she'll have her PCT this year.
So she's going to follow in her mama's footsteps and take care of others, right? Did she always know she wanted to be a nurse?
I think since about 8th grade.
Really?
We started setting her up for this her freshman year. So there's a lot of planning involved.
Yeah.
And she hasn't changed her mind once.
I love that.
And she is hoping she's going to audition and hopefully dance for the Iowa Hawkeyes. Is her goal.
You have to look at videos if you want to follow Tony on Facebook. Are you on any other social media? Are you on Instagram?
No, just Facebook.
Yeah. So some really amazing videos and pictures, the photo shoots that you've done with them dancing. I'm just like, gosh, they're so talented. So nursing. Okay. And then what about McKenna?
She's just living her best 15-year-old life. Driving with her permit. Can't wait to get her license.
Yes. Going through that.
They both love to drive, which is odd these days. A lot of kids don't like to drive.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
A lot of their friends wait forever to get their license or just don't want to drive.
Why?
I have no idea.
Huh.
Could not tell you. That's all I wanted to do when I was their age. And my girls are the same way. They really like to drive.
So
kids aren't like that.
Alexia and McKenna, when you watch the show, talk to your friends. Please tell me that. That's very interesting. That's another whole other topic. Yeah. I haven't heard that one. Yeah, we couldn't wait. Like, right. tick, 15. Let's get to permit. Let's go. Mm-hmm. Teach me how to parallel park, right. Which is the most difficult thing. Still, let's see. Some more comments here. Amanda, did we read this one? No. Sarah's a ray of sunshine. Tony is the most amazing human. The girls are just the best combination of the two. So blessed to know all of them. We love you all. And then Emily says, Tony, you're doing a great job. I'm so proud of you. You really are. I mean, that's the thing is you don't sign up for this and then it becomes reality because you can't just give up. You've got two beautiful young girls that are lost and you have to guide them. How difficult has it been being a single dad?
I guess raising girls is hard as a dad. They don't have their Alex and I just had a conversation the other day. She was mad at me because I was getting on her about, I think, cleaning her room or something just silly and mundane. It didn't matter. And we got into an argument about it. And she's like, I'm not supposed to be having this argument with you. You're only for the big stuff. You know, the moms and daughters, they bicker.
Yep.
You know, that just happens. And it's all in love and it's normal.
Right.
But she got pretty upset about it. She's like, I'm not supposed to be arguing with you about this. I'm like, well, here we are. This is what we have to do.
We've got to go through this.
And then we get through it, we get over it, and it's fine. But
because of one of the things you mentioned earlier on in the show, and that is that you have to talk about it. You have to communicate. You can't just dismiss them, which a lot of parents unfortunately do. They're not there for their children.
Right. No, I'm there 100%.
Yep.
They know that.
And that's probably the most calming thing for them is that they know they've got their dad. Their dad's not going to turn on them the way some parents do. That's the blessings. There's the hope. There's the blessings that you have. Karen says, Tony is a wonderful father. I'm so proud to know him. Alex and Mac are amazing young ladies. Let's see.
And I'm 100% girl dad. Like nothing, I'm not squeamish about anything girl related, dance, personal, whatever it is. I've never had a problem with that.
Yeah, you're definitely a girl dad. Yeah, that's an honor for a lot of guys. They're like, I can't when they know the sex of a baby when they're pregnant, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be a great girl dad. And I was like, I'd love to hear that. Yeah, that's the blessing. Sarah Bomarito says, sending love. I've had a lot of high school employees. I would say about half drive themselves. Wow, the other half never did. This is the thing.
Yeah,
I did not know
Brought
about
up a whole
this.
New topic.
Yes, you did. This is a whole other show. So single dad. Moving on, widowing. The last part of the show that I wanted to talk about is, and you and I talked about this on the phone, and it's a hard thing to ever know. You and Sarah, I believe, did have this discussion near the end when she was sick. Did she say you at some point have to move on and allow something to open up in your heart again?
We like to say move forward, not move on.
Move forward. Move forward. And I'm sure, you know what? I think that's a powerful discussion, though, that the two of you had, because some people, like I remember when my mom lost my father, and it was, well, I can't imagine ever dating anybody again. And then people would say, but you have so much life. And I think that's a discussion when one of the two knows that it's probably at the end and it's too far to where you are, that there is no hope anymore, and that it's nearing the end, to have that discussion. Because I think, did that help at all for her to say, I want you to be able to move forward?
Yes.
But in your mind, you probably thought, well, I don't even want to think about that.
And I didn't. Yeah. Didn't even want to think about it for a while.
Well, you guys were together for 24 years. Mm-hmm. Married 19 years. That's a hard thing.
Well, that's basically all that I knew. We were teenagers when we got together, so we basically grew up together. We learned all adult things together.
Yeah.
So.
And you mentioned that to me on the phone, that you said, I don't even really understand what it is to date. I mean, you've been together since you were teenagers, your daughter's ages.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So she leaves us at the age of 41, April 11th of 2022. I'm going to take a quick break. You posted something, and that's actually why I brought Tony on today. You posted something and said, these last several months obviously is a bevy of emotions, but it's nice to be able to find some happiness again through the tears, to be able to go through the emotions. We're going to talk about that with Tony when we return. Hi, it's Monica Adams. Thank you so much for following along with The Real Monica Adams Show since we launched back in March. But I wanted to let you know there's so much more that I could do with you, your business, your corporation. Did you know that I'm a motivational speaker all around the world, as well as an MC and an auctioneer? So if you have an event, maybe a nonprofit organization, and you want to book me, just shoot me an email, info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Personal training, life coaching, and styling as well. Info@TheRealMonicaAdams.com. Envita Health and Wellness, where you can feel your best both inside and out. Envita isn't your typical med spa. They're a multi-specialty medical spa and wellness center serving St. Louis and its surrounding areas. They have ketamine for mental health and pain, IV therapy, medical weight loss, and aesthetics treatments. As board-certified anesthesia providers, Envita can ensure that their advanced treatments are provided safely with minimal to no pain. So let Envita take care of you. Call 314-394-0950 to book an appointment, or online, envitahealthandwellness.com. Welcome back. Again, it's the Real Monica Adams Show, the mobile Monica version at home. And I'm so glad that this man and I reconnected when I saw the pictures that you had posted. And then we talked on the phone, and we mentioned this particular topic. Let me look at a couple more comments. Marie Elizabeth said 100% girl dad for sure. Laura. Proudly, exactly. Laura, you said works for the American Cancer Society. Mm-hmm. Laura said, I had the honor of meeting Tony through the American Cancer Society Men Wear Pink campaign, and Sarah through the Making Strides Portrait of Hope. They both have impacted so many lives. I am blessed to know them. We all are, right? Michelle's at home bawling, she said. Oh, that's what I just asked you at the break. I said, what Sarah's watching right now. We know she's watching from heaven. I said, what would she be saying to you?
Mostly about my crying. Just man up, Tony. Let's go. But in a loving, joking way, of course. She always had my back, but she could push me. She could push me when she had to.
Well, my gosh, for you to say that you never fought in 24 years, the two of you just truly had an amazing connection. If you didn't hear that earlier, he told us that. Thank you for sharing your story, Tony and family, thinking about you, and continued prayers. And Danielle, Sarah was my daughter Ellie's first dance teacher at the age of 3. Watching Sarah have so much grace and patience with those little girls was the sweetest. I felt connection with Sarah once we realized I went to school with them and graduated and was friends with Tony's brother. Even after moving, we have always remembered and cheered Sarah on through her journey from wherever we were. She definitely left an impression on all of our hearts. Tony, you are freaking awesome. And your girls are so lucky. Keep rocking it all. Kathy says, thank you for sharing your story. One of the things that we brought up at the break is that you and Sarah have this conversation, and she says, look, at some point I want you to be able to move forward. You don't even entertain that idea. You can't even think and even imagine that. When do you decide, okay, I have this from this woman that I just is the love of my life, but she said she wants me to be able to move forward. When do you even consider that?
I didn't actually start considering it. I think before I started, the first thing is, I think the ultimate goal in life is just to be happy. Yeah. No matter what. So we have plenty of things that make us unhappy or sad or unbearable, but the goal, I mean, money, popularity, whatever, just happy is good. Mm-hmm. So whether it's with your family or whoever, whatever it is, just happy. And that's pretty simple if you think about it. When you break it down, it's pretty simple, just to be happy. It's not always easy to be happy, but it's a simple concept.
But continuing to choose happiness.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if this is silly or not, but I literally.
Nothing's ever silly. What's it say?
Yeah, it says love life.
Love life. Love life. Love your life. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I didn't know that.
So I've had these for many years, and that's just how we lived, like just to be happy no matter what. So I wasn't looking to move forward, really. I wouldn't say I was going through the motions, but raising kids and not having Sarah was pretty difficult.
Sure. And
then life just happens. I don't know how else to say it.
No, you're right. And I think this is a really powerful moment for you all to understand. Life happens, and you're not saying, I've got to find something, or I'm going to shut myself off. Well, you do have to be open to it. So at some point, and I'm sure you talk to her on a daily basis still, pray to her, ask her to guide, what do I do? Am I doing the right thing with our daughters?
Oh yeah, that one a lot.
Should I have done this or that? So when suddenly do you open up and you are dating?
Yes.
Heather?
Shannon,
sorry. Why did I say
Heather? Me in trouble. Who's Heather?
I don't know. Oh my God. Shannon, there is no Heather. It's your nickname now when I meet you.
She's had a few nicknames. So
well, now it's Heather.
It started as Pete. It was
what?
a funny story.
Who's Pete?
So, there were only a handful of people who knew that Shannon and I were speaking in the beginning. I didn't tell I started talking to her in November, and I didn't tell my girls until February. They didn't need to know that. There were a handful of people that knew. And Shannon made a joke one time because she thought I was attractive, that she was my Pete Davidson to me being Kim Kardashian. At the time, I guess they were dating. It was a one-off joke. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to store you in my phone as Pete. So my girls don't know. And so then there were a handful of people who knew that we were talking, and they knew her as Pete. So they called her Pete.
So Pete, and for some reason, Heather. I do not know where Heather came from. That's crazy. Did I see a Heather's comment? Maybe that's it. I don't know if there was a Heather commenting. Shannon. So you and Shannon started dating a couple...
We spoke for several weeks before we actually went on. It was hard to date when you're trying to hide it from your kids, and I hate to say it that way, but they didn't need to know anything about that. So it was in November of last year.
And at that point, and this is something that you and I talked about, and I think it's a real topic that needs to be discussed, there are people who will cast stones. There are people who will judge. I've seen this. I've actually done stories on this in the past, that they'll say there has to be this amount of time that has to lapse before you can even open your heart. Have you gone through that?
Yes.
Yeah. And how do you handle that?
As gracefully as possible, I guess. As respectfully as possible to most, to the ones that deserve it. It's funny. I just had a conversation with my grandpa 2 weeks ago. He'll be 92 this year. Mm-hmm. He lost my grandma 4 years ago. Just he and I were talking. I was at his house the other day, and he's like, I thought about dating again, or speaking to a woman. He goes, but I'm old and I just want to do whatever I want. So I'm just not doing it. I was like, all right, that's perfect. I mean, he's for 91. He works in his garage. He does woodworking. He works on cars. He cuts down trees. I mean, he is the real man.
Huh.
And I was talking to him about this topic, and he goes, well, that seems to be their problem, not yours.
Powerful.
I said, yeah, but I have to deal with it.
Mhm.
And he goes, no, they can deal with it.
Which we've talked about before on the show, Tony. It is, do we give power to others? It's none of their
that's
business,
good.
right? Oh, that's a huge topic of trying to teach every human being to just stay in our lane, let them stay in theirs. They'll try to swerve into our lane and a whole crash could happen. We could do bumper cars, or we could just keep trying to guide ourselves out of that horrible debris that they're trying to throw at you.
Mm-hmm.
People who truly love you, and that's us, and that's all these people that are watching this morning.
That's her right there.
That's Heather.
No. Shannon.
Pete, Shannon, I am so sorry. She said you're doing great, and she's laughing at the nicknames. I can't wait to meet her. Let's actually bring that into play, because it's got to be hard for her. I mean, such a powerful source in the world that Sarah was, and how does she even enter into trying to find her way into your heart? Did she know Sarah?
We weren't friends. When she knew of Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
and she knew our family. I actually know her family,
Okay.
Shannon's family, from before, but Shannon and Sarah and I never really knew each other.
Okay.
Just acquaintances,
Right.
barely. And then she knew of us, of course, because everyone did. And then her brother knew us really well. So two things here. How hard is it for her, and how hard was it for your daughters? I think initially that my daughters took it pretty easily, actually. When I told them about it, the first thing Alex said was, "Is she a baddie?" And I was like, "What is that? Is she hot?" I said,
all
whoa,
these
whoa.
words we're learning.
I said, we'll get to that in
Wait,
a minute.
what is it again?
A baddie?
A baddie?
Yeah.
Now I feel old.
Yeah, me too.
So is she hot, Dad?
I said, well, that's not even the point of this conversation. Let's talk about the important stuff first.
Teenage girls.
Yeah. And it's not always easy,
Yep.
but they do really well.
Good.
They do good. Shannon's respectful of
That's
Sarah and us, and the girls like her. So
there you go. I mean, how difficult would it be if they didn't? Then it just brings drama.
it does. It would.
And
Not it does. It would.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She also has 2 teenage daughters about the same age as mine. And so it was like, okay, how's that going to work? But they get along.
Good.
It works out. Yeah.
Those are blessings. Again, a very difficult thing to do. But what would you tell anybody that's going through something like this? Because I've heard I'm glad you're having this kind of experience. I've heard the other side of the story. I've heard someone who lost their wife, and I knew the kids, and they immediately were judging their father for even considering dating again. What would you tell the people who cast the stones?
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but you don't have to walk in their shoes. You don't have to live their life. It's not easy to do it either way, alone or with someone. Like no one's going to like everything that you're going to do, no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to do whatever makes you happy.
You do you.
Mm-hmm.
And let them.
And it's not like, okay, so I had this conversation with you, I think, and I with Shannon the other day. It's not like I have to make room in my heart to move Sarah for Shannon. And this comes into, I'm a builder. I just put a room addition on the side for Shannon, and she respects that and understands that, and she knows she has to share me.
Absolutely. Well, and you have an incredible foundation, if we want to play off of that. Yes. So Penn Berthy Construction, you've been in the business for how long?
The business has been around since 92. I started in 95 when I was 15, working in the summers. It's the only job I've ever had, working for my dad
And
every
then
summer.
it's you and...
So my father owns it, and it's myself, my younger brother, and we have one other employee who's like family.
Love it.
Mm-hmm. We're a small business. We've been bigger before. We've had up to 20 employees. It just wasn't worth it. So we stay small. We stay busy. We have a good reputation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's how we like it.
Well, look, and that's, when you're needing any type of construction, you want to turn to someone who's going to be there for you. I mean, obviously this is a very hard worker, your entire family, you've been doing this your whole life. And you want someone that you can trust. So how do they get in touch with you if they need any construction?
We do have
Let's
a
throw it out
Facebook
there.
page, Penworthy Construction, and I guess the best phone number would be 636-299-3486. And we don't really do a lot of advertisement, word of mouth and Facebook, and we've been busy for 30 years.
That's incredible. Building you up, building up the community. All right, let's see. Yep, she's a baddie. Just looked at her Facebook page.
Who said
That's
that?
my best friend Michelle.
Oh.
She moderates for me. There, she just posted your website, by the way, or is that your Facebook page? That's probably your Facebook
That
page.
is not ours.
That's not yours?
No, I don't know what that is.
You sure?
Is that a Facebook page?
It
Or is
might
that
be.
a
Or is that a website?
It looks like a website, but we don't have a website.
You don't? Okay. Then don't pay attention to that then. Beautiful. Linda says beautiful family and interview. There we go. Penworthy Construction Company, Inc. Is that
Yes,
you?
yes, that's us.
Okay. You're doing great. Oh, that's Shannon. That's Shannon, Heather, Pete.
Yeah.
Krista said, Pete, your tears are beautiful. Thank you for sharing your story and being vulnerable. I love you. Thank you for sharing your story. That's the biggest thing that I can say is I am so glad that you said yes. That when you and I talked and I asked, and I think he really liked it when I said, we're going to be coming, and I think it worked perfectly because we looked at possibly bringing Tony on about a week or so ago, and he's like, oh, I really can't. And I said, well, then let's do it on November 2nd. I don't care that it's out of Breast Cancer Awareness Month because I think it actually is more powerful to say, okay, it's October 31st. We flip the calendar. It's November 1st and everyone stops talking about it. No, we need to tell you to do your exams, do the mammograms.
Also, if I could say to
Please.
do them early. Also, we have a friend who was diagnosed with breast cancer at 23 or 24, and it developed into stage 4, and she beat it. She's Sarah's age.
Oh my gosh.
And but she was 24 when she found out. So I don't think there's an age.
No.
Age limit's not the correct term, but I don't think there's an age where you're like, oh, I have to wait till
Nope.
now to start checking. I would do it every year, from early on.
Absolutely. And talk with your doctor, find a doctor that's an advocate for you, be your own advocate. You're absolutely correct. You now are passing that on to your daughters like, hey, you now have this as a history in your family, with your mother. Please, everybody, hear that in the story today. That's the most important thing. Before we wrap up, Tony, any final words of remembering this incredible woman?
Oh, incredible is one of the many words you could use to describe her. She was my best friend. Yeah, I couldn't imagine the 25 years I had without her.
The blessings that she gave you on a daily basis and to each and every one of us.
We were happy.
Yes, you were. I mean, I hope you saw that. And here's what I hope you do. I hope you go and you hug those that you love even tighter today. You understand what you have in the blessing. And it is a blessing to have that partnership. Stop the fighting. Stop the, oh my gosh, they left their clothes this. I mean, and it starts these ridiculous fights.
It's not worth it.
No.
Those things aren't important.
No. Thank you. Thank you so much. And to all of you for listening to this story, share this, a very powerful story today. We always wrap up, Tony, and in the studio, it's always with, it's a devotional that we have. And I wish I actually had that right now. But instead, we've been going through this book, Blueprint for Value, 52 Habits to Discover and Strengthen Your Personal Worth, because we all have value. And more people need to understand that and see that in each other. So we're on number 45. It's called Pay Once. Acknowledge, own, accept, reconcile, and move forward. Oh my gosh. What in the heck? I'm not kidding, Tony. Every time I read from a book, whether it's here or it's at the studio, I almost start crying every day of like, how did this get picked? We literally, I don't get this. Sarah, thank you. Speaking through us. Acknowledge, own, accept, reconcile, and move forward. I'm not kidding. That's what it says. I'm not lying to you. I didn't write this. Humans make mistakes. Unlike other creatures, however, we tend to remind ourselves of the mistake hundreds of times over, often years into the future. Although repeatedly recalling a mistake can feel comfortable and familiar, it can bring its own set of consequences. An altered self-perception, a false identity, stunted growth, and large withdrawals from your personal worth account. Choose to acknowledge the mistake, Own your part, accept any necessary consequences, seek reconciliation, and then move forward. Doing so will stop the withdrawals and make deposits in your personal worth account. So, what's the takeaway? Do not let a mistake haunt you and overtake your entire identity. Ours is to move forward and know that you've given your all. And I hope you do. I mean, that's the biggest thing. Understand your blessings, stop the pettiness, stop the arguments, stop the fighting. It's not worth it. You have a beautiful story, Tony, and we're not going to let it stop. I just want to continue to build up the community through Sarah. I'm glad that the page is still there, Sarah Soldiers, and you might want to pop in there. Does somebody have to accept people to be in that page?
Yes, there are a few of us that can do that.
So for all of this community, what you might want to do is tell them, I was watching and I want to be supporting. I want to continue. I posted in it last night and I'd love to see the people saying, oh my gosh, she's been on a lot of people's minds recently, they were saying. And so I'm so glad that we were able to do this. Thank you for sharing this. The time I knew Sarah was precious. I pray for you and the girls to live happy, full, and flourishing lives. Miracles of love. Love you, Uncle Tony. You are so strong, from Emma. And today is also All Souls Day. What a beautiful story to honor Sarah and invite us all to honor all the souls in our lives. Thank you for the blessing today. Tony, you're strong. I know she's so proud of you. Amazing, touching story. And by the way, don't let this comment stop, because Tony can see these. Alexia can see these. McKenna can see these. Sarah Soldiers can see these. Let's continue to keep the inspiration going so that we know that the loss of her was, it's not for naught, right? It's this incredible life that she lived. Although we lost her too early, it's what can we do moving forward to be better human beings? That's the whole thing. What can we provide to this world? Not what we can get for other people. It's what can we give back? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for telling the story. And to all of you, thank you so much for tuning in. Let her story carry you forward and understand the blessings that you have. Hug them. Tell them you love them. Have some respect for each other. As Tony said, make sure that you talk through things and you communicate, and please lift each other up. God bless you all. Go out and have a beautiful day. And remember, I always say, more than anything, please be kind.